Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day to you, depending where you are in the world. We are in London. It is night time. We're doing our nighttime devotion. The devotional is called To Be Like Jesus. The title today, Jesus identifies himself with the needy. Matthew 25:40 reads, "And the king will answer them and say to them, Assuredly, I say to you, inasmuch as you did it to one of the least of these my brethren, you did it to me." While God in his providence has laden the earth with his bounties and filled its storehouses with the luxuries of life, there is no excuse whatsoever for allowing the treasury of God to remain empty. Christians are not excusable for permitting the widow's cries and the orphan's prayers to ascend to heaven because of their suffering want, while a liberal providence has placed in the hands of these Christians abundance to supply their need. Let not the cries of the widow and fatherless call down the vengeance of heaven upon us as a people. In the professed Christian world, there is enough expended in extravagant display for jewels and ornaments to supply the wants of all the hungry and clothe all the naked in our towns and cities. And yet these professed followers of the meek and lowly, Jesus need not deprive themselves of suitable food or comfortable clothing. What will these church members say when confronted in the day of God by the worthy poor, the afflicted, the widows, and the fatherless, who have known pinching want for the meager necessities of life, while there was expended by these professed followers of Christ for superfluous clothing, needless ornaments expressly forbidden in the Word of God, enough to supply all their wants? We see ladies professing godliness and wearing elegant gold chains, necklaces, rings, other jewelry, while want stalks in the streets and suffering and destitute on every side. These do not interest them, nor awaken their sympathy, but they will weep over the imaginary suffering depicted in the last novel. They have no ears for the cries of the needy, no eyes to behold the cold and almost naked forms of women and children around them. They look upon real want as a species of crime and withdraw from suffering humanity as from a contagious disease. To such, Christ will say, "I was a hungered, and you gave me no meat. I was thirsty, you gave me no drink. Sick and in prison, you visited me not." But on the other hand, Christ says to the righteous, "I was hungered and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, you gave me drink. I was a stranger, you took me in. Naked, you clothed me. I was sick, you visited me. I was in prison, you came unto me." Christ identifies his interest with that of suffering humanity. Deeds of love, charity, done to the suffering are as though done to himself. And it is the way, isn't it? You see, it's not just women. Where it talks about here with their jewelry and their glamorous frocks and clothing and dresses. It's not just women that wear the chains and the rings. This is men as well. The flash watches, the earrings. And yet they'll gladly walk past someone in the street in their big cars, nice shoes. And I'm not saying it's bad to have all that. If you can afford it, of course, have it, but also afford to spend some of that money, to let some of that money to your suffering brothers and sisters in the street who have no home, have no roof over their head, have no food, have no clothes, no shoes. Many of the churches are very rich, and yet many of their members can't even afford a loaf of bread. Many churches have what they call the Samaritan Fund, or they have something for helping people with food or with bills. But they spend more time paying for pastors or speakers to come overseas from the States or from the Caribbean. Thousands of pounds. And yet they can't spend a few hundred to help people with food. There's a lot to answer to there. Give, and it will come back to you.